In 1987, the world was introduced to one of the most original concepts for any alien species. An elite combination of futuristic tech and tribal warrior ethics, matched with an unforgettable design, from the creepy mandibles hidden behind their signature mask, to the dreadlocks, a sensory organ used to help the predator's reflexes and balance, giving them an edge when it comes to mobility, resulting in a creature more logically grounded than most horror villains, while being just as terrifying. A sports hunter selecting its victims based on their own abilities, with no interest in the unarmed or defenseless, but having respect for the honor that comes from a fair fight. An unbelievably interesting premise that they've had no idea what to do with since the original. And after decades of wasteful mismanagement, has finally landed in the hands of Disney, the destroyer of worlds, the most creatively bankrupt company on the planet, and the monsters responsible for ruining every IP they touch, fundamentally destroying them at their core, and forcefully injecting their ideas and beliefs regardless of whether or not they fit. Taking the ferocious Rancor from Return of the Jedi and turning it into an emotionally sensitive creature suffering from depression.
This beast can feel such things.
Rancor are emotionally complex creatures.
Taking the Xenomorph, one of the most terrifying creatures in all of horror, and turning it into a pet cat that can attack on command. And taking the incredible lore of the Predators, who violently ripped out the spines of their victims to claim their trophy, and turning them into autism hunters searching for spinal fluid throughout the galaxy. An embarrassing direction to take the franchise, and another case of wasted potential. The series took a step in the right direction with Prey, nailing fundamental elements of what makes the creature so interesting, resulting in some of the best Predator moments we've had in years. Ultimately shat the bed by prioritizing the rise of an entitled Disney princess rather than the logic of the story, turning the Predator's brain off in order to have him get stomped by a child, completely ruining what could have been a decent movie.
You blew it!
And now we have finally come to Predator Badlands, where instead of the stoic chads of the previous films, we now have Deck, the biggest pussy the Predators have ever produced, the runt of the litter to ensure our sympathy, and maskless throughout most of the film to make sure that we can see him emote. Because emotion and family drama is what everyone wants from a Predator film. Just like what they did to Adam Driver's Kylo Ren, removing a mask with great presence and history just to show their emotions, and ignoring what it means for their character. Another example of them forcefully injecting their beliefs where they don't belong, undermining the terrifying element of the Predators and turning him into another Disney princess. And I want to take the time to compare him to one of the most forgotten Predators in the series, a character that embodies all the traits that makes him so interesting, but trapped inside a shitty movie. After the events of AVP, the hybrid monster, the Preda-Alien, crash lands on Earth, but not before killing a group of predators, releasing the facehuggers they had stored on the ship, immediately causing chaos and taking the lives of a father and son. And when a job fails this badly, an elite organization will usually send in the fixers to clean things up, and the Predators are no different, as we are introduced to Wolf gearing up for his next mission. He arrives on Earth and immediately tracks down the ship, and finds his fallen Yalja brothers, giving us a quick look at the respect that they have for each other, and one of the best examples of the versatility of their tech, as he takes his mask and puts it on to watch the recording as he begins his investigation. He injects the mysterious fluid into his device to determine the species, and proceeds to arm himself with the correct gear to deal with this threat, salvaging everything he can find before destroying the ship. And after tracking down the facehugger and finding the corpse of the man who was killed, we see him use the blue liquid he acquired to dissolve the body as he continues to erase any evidence he finds. His investigation leads him to the sewers, where he traps and eliminates the hidden xenomorphs. And unlike those stupid losers in AVP getting their asses whooped 2v1, Wolf stands his ground, ready to take him out with his bare hands, until he gets sucker punched by the Pred alien. He runs him down, chasing him across the city and sustaining heavy blows in the process, struggling to track its movements as it counters his thermal vision. And in one of the most tasteful callbacks to the original film, we see him panic, blasting with his cannon, and frantically trying to eliminate its target. Establishing the threat of this hybrid monster and reminding us that the Predator is formidable but not invincible, as it absolutely wrecks another xenomorph and continues to erase the evidence before attending to its wounds. He tracks the creature down to the basement of a school, and we get to see how deadly the monster can be as it uses its stealth to attack its prey, and has complete control of the aliens it spawns, just like the Xenomorph Queen. From the basement to the roof of the school, Wolf relentlessly kills the creatures in his way in pursuit of his target. And after his pistol and whip are lost and equipment is damaged, he removes his remaining gear, revealing his face for the second time, but once again for a meaningful scene. First, to pay tribute to his fallen brothers, and find out what happened on the ship, and now after deciding to battle this creature to the death and prove his worth. And instead of just giving him an anime charge-up or a Disney-style second wind, he proceeds to get bodied by the Pred alien, as they already established the difference in their strength. And rather than just nerfing the creature to give an easy win to our protagonist like they did in Prey, they give us a worthy battle as he shows his fighting spirit and forces a double kill, going out like a warrior and completing his mission. Easily the most underappreciated Predator in the entire series. But why is he well written?
All units report ready.
Let's make this crystal clear. AVP 2 is dog shit. All the characters are either worthless morons or boring tropes with no worthy payoffs. The entire human plot is a waste of time, and I can't fucking see anything. This might be the most poorly lit film ever made. Yet, somehow, trapped inside this crappy movie is the best Predator since the original, expanding the lore with each of his scenes and showing the variety of tactics they use on their hunts, and what they can achieve at their full potential. A story that understood the power of show don't tell, by having informative POV scenes with the Predator without the need for dialogue, and getting the opportunity to follow his investigation through his actions. Every weapon he uses throughout the movie serves a purpose and has a payoff, making his gear up scenes worth paying attention to. But most importantly, it's the intelligence and the strategies that make the Predator so much more interesting than your basic slasher villain. The focus on erasing evidence throughout his mission, and gathering information about his target on the fly, giving us some major insight into the Predator standards for avoiding detection, making great use of a wide variety of gadgets to complete his task, and avenging the pathetic predators from the first film by beating the shit out of every xenomorph he can find, and going out on his shield after he gets the job done. This motherfucker should be in the Predator Hall of Fame, but nobody can remember this movie, and even the few that do can barely see what the hell is going on. It's like it was filmed with a candle after they broke the lights. Even the actors are running around blind as a bat.
No, wait!
Now, let's compare him to Deck. The film opens up with a landscape shot, ripping off Star Wars and Dune, and introducing us to Deck as he approaches a dark cave to confront his brother. So it would appear that they're doing some kind of training ritual and are not actually trying to kill each other. Could have fooled me with the amount of times he tries to stab Deck in the face, but what do I know? So the two CGI blobs continue to clash as I struggle to keep track of what the fuck is going on in another poorly lit Predator scene with two characters I just met and know nothing about. And in order to catch me up, his big brother tells him, "You fight with anger." And Deck says, "No, I fight like father." And his brother corrects him, "You are not father. You are Deck.
Fuck, it's genius.
Less than 4 minutes into the film, and it's clear this is made for toddlers. And the idea of predators talking is more disgustingly lame than I could have ever imagined, instead of taking the time to show me their characters like they did with Wolf. So they finish their training, and Quay tells Deck in order to earn his cloak, he has to choose a prey and defeat it. And he selects the unkillable Callisk, a creature no predator has ever defeated, and even their father fears. So there you have it. Deck is a bum, and in order to level up, he chooses the hardest possible task in order to impress his father, because for some reason, predator insecurity was at the top of the list of things they wanted to explore in this movie. But before you can wrap your head around a plot this complex, their father rolls up on a ship and tells Quay, what the fuck, why haven't you killed this loser yet? He's embarrassing the entire clan with that stupid haircut, forcing me to conclude that Quay knew this entire time that their father wanted him dead and never bothered to mention anything, making him a complete moron and Deck an ignorant fool just 10 minutes into the movie. He refuses to kill his brother, and then rather than just joining forces to defeat Space Tywin, he yeets Deck onto the ship, locks the door, and decides to traumatize him instead, forced to watch him get brutally murdered from behind the glass. But before he's killed, he sends Deck to the planet he chose, so he can bring down the Callisk. And I ask once again, why the fuck didn't he just fight with Deck? Or better yet, go with him? Or even better, warn him that their father wants him dead for being a scrub with a stupid haircut and make a plan together, rather than do their morning exercise and never bring it up. It's like there's a scene missing, but the movie wants you to forget all that and focus on the emotional damage of a torn family. So Deck crash lands on a mysterious alien planet. And just in case you forgot what happened 5 seconds ago, we get another clunky predator line to remind us why we're here.
No shit.
So he checks his loadout and prepares for war, armed with his staff, his trusty bow, 1 plasma cannon, and 4 grenades. The situation is bleak, but Deck is geared up and ready to make this planet his bitch. Wait, never mind. He gets jumped by a gang of worms, loses almost all of his gear, and gets chased out of the forest. An absolute embarrassing disgrace for the predator race. Even Jeremy, the retarded predator from Prey, would have murdered every last one of them and bathed in their worm blood. But Deck the dingus gets kicked off the block and robbed. And then we get what I consider the one and only good scene in the movie, where we see him scan the plant to confirm its properties before using it on his wounds. A really cool way of keeping the tradition of predator healing scenes, and a brief insight into the potential this film had, right before jumping off a cliff. So he continues to wander aimlessly with no plan on a mysterious planet, where with Wolf we had an excellent tracker and detective that used critical thinking and took his time. But with Deck we have a fucking caveman with a sharp red stick and a slight concussion. He completely forgets the scanner he used on the leaf, and walks right into a field of poisonous plants. And this was the movie's golden opportunity to show Deck find a way through this situation, and embrace what could have been a predator survival film along the lines of Castaway or All Is Lost. But instead they decide to spawn the most annoying character they could possibly think of directly into the plot, having him find an android that knows where the monster is to act as a guide. In The Lord of the Rings, Gollum was established from the first film, and after capturing him and confirming that he knows the way to Mordor, using him as a guide was a natural way for the story to unfold. And they were still smart enough to manage to leverage drama out of the situation. An excellent use of the characters at hand. But in this stupid movie, he literally crash lands onto a random planet, and in the same day walks into a guy that just happens to know the exact information he needs because of reasons. And like an annoying side character from a video game, she proceeds to tell him exactly what to do, ruining any potential this character had left on his own, and making Deck look like a bigger fool than he already was, derailing the entire movie by refusing to shut her mouth.
Is this better? Universal translation. You hear Yautja, others hear their language. Oh boy, this isn't great for you.
Oh, shut up!
Then we see an angry bird drop a rock to activate the plants, and instead of just turning back or using his disc blade to kill the bird, or scanning the plants to think of a way to counter them, or anything clever like a predator would do, this stupid barbarian panics and tries to run through the field, only to get shot in the neck.
Gotta run faster.
Shut up!
And with his last ounce of strength, he passes his blade to the robot before falling to the floor, paralyzed. 24 minutes into the movie, and a heroic predator on a quest for glory and revenge is defeated by a plant. And if it wasn't for this stupid robot, he would have been eaten by a bird too. So then we're forced to watch the film get morphed into a buddy cop drama as they talk about their feelings and explore the land, cracking jokes and wasting my time, and befriending all of the creatures of the forest along the way.
This is the dream team right here. The dynamic three, the dynamic trio, the dynamic trio! What should I call you? Whoa! I've never been thrown before. What a thrill! How fast were you going when your ship crashed? Faster than sunlight speed? We haven't cracked that yet. Also, that plasma sword is interesting. Is it unique to your clan? And what may I call you? Shut up!
And after they reach the den of the callous, she reveals the truth, that she was actually a part of a group that's trying to capture it, and she was only using him to bring her to this location.
I'm sorry. You have to leave.
And instead of just ripping her in half, he says bring it on, ready to take on the Callus, the Yutani Corporation, and anything else in his way. Even though this entire movie has done nothing but establish that he's shit, yet somehow we're still supposed to believe he can take down the beast. So the film blesses him with Mando-level plot armor, as he takes on the giant Pokemon, getting tossed around instead of eaten.
Oh, come on!
Taking the fight that was built up with the death of his brother and turning it into another joke. And after chopping off its head only to have it regrow, Deck is fresh out of ideas, but once again is bailed out by the script as the monster smells the scent of its baby, the dumbass creature he befriended in the previous scene. The latest Baby Yoda incarnation and the only reason he isn't dead. And just in case that wasn't stupid enough, the Yutani crew arrives and uses a grenade that they salvaged from Deck's ship to instantly capture the Callus.
What? What? What?
How in the hell has no predator ever beaten this creature when they have access to a weapon this strong? How is Deck so stupid that not only did he lose all his gear, he didn't even check the ship that brought him here? How did the writers not catch this mistake when it makes the entire story pointless and can only function if every single predator in history is as brain damaged as Deck? And that's simply not the case, as we just saw with Wolf. His very first priority was investigating the ship and arming himself with the specific gear that he needed, even though he had no information. But Deck, who basically got a seminar on the Callus and access to detailed files, didn't even bother to salvage the ship for more info or weapons. And his master plan was to run at it, stab it, and hope for the best. This is simply not a Predator film. This is Deck the Barbarian on some goofy Disney planet. You could literally replace him with any random alien or warrior, and the story would function exactly the same. And that's just something you can't say about Wolf, as he conducted himself in an intelligent manner, investigated his target from a safe distance, using all the interesting tactics you would expect. Compare that to Deck, who got comboed by a bird, robbed by worms, hard carried by a robot, and saved by an infant, just to fail his mission due to a lack of research and a shitty game plan. Disney somehow managed to turn a sports hunting monster into a stupid lazy simp that should have never had a moment of screen time.
What are you doing here?
The idea of a movie from the POV of a predator is something that definitely has a lot of potential, but that strictly depends on a story that respects their lore and understands their history, something Disney refuses to do, and would rather apply their pathetic formula to every project that they get their hands on, diluting the core concept in order to desperately appeal to a wider audience, rather than just taking the time to understand the one that it already has. This modern obsession with turning every scary creature into a sensitive, misunderstood victim needs to die. Snow White singing and using her beautiful voice to recruit the animals of the forest is pretty OP, but still gets a pass as she's just a child, and the original Disney princess. But trying to do the same thing with a predator is just fucking embarrassing. Please stop.